Over time, women's rights have improved immensely, but today women still have to work extremely hard to achieve the same salary, careers and experiences as men. This is partially due to gender stereotyping, especially from a young age.
Gender stereotyping is defined as overgeneralization of characteristics, differences and attributes of a certain group based on their gender. This creates a widely accepted judgment or bias about certain features or traits that apply to men and women.
A recent Girl Guidance survey found that girls believed certain subjects such as science and mathematics were more suitable for boys, while other subjects such as music and drama were more suitable for girls.
With these kinds of attitudes starting so young, it really shouldn't come as a surprise that fewer than 1 in 10 engineers in the UK is female, the lowest percentage in Europe.
A common misconception is that stereotyping careers specifically is something that happens to women and girls, but men are also discouraged from entering some careers such as the beauty industry. But how are schools today working to combat these stereotypes to create a brighter future with more opportunities for our generation? We are going to find out the work that our school is doing to stop these stereotypes and encourage that anything is possible once you put your mind to it.
Firstly, we interviewed 120 pupils from years 7 to 9 to find out their career aspirations for the future. As you can see from this graph, we've got rather mixed results.
Firstly, we found that 10% of boys wished to pursue careers in the information and technology department, whilst only 1.7% of girls wanted to do the same. Also, 18.4% of our interviewees wished to have a job to do with sport, but shockingly, 14.2% of them were all male.
On the other hand, only 3.3% of boys wanted to teach in the future, compared to 8.3% of girls. Our Girl Guidance survey was proven right after we found out that 10% of girls wanted to have careers in the music and drama industries, compared to a shocking 0.8% of boys.
These results are most likely caused by the lack of information on the subject, lack of role models or spokespersons to show that these careers can be possible, and the lack of normality, that is friends and people you know doing the same things as you.
To combat this, we need to encourage people from all kinds of jobs to come into the school to talk about it. This will encourage others to normalise it and do it themselves, regardless of gender stereotypes.
Girls being encouraged to enter into STEM subjects will help improve the pipeline of female talent in the male-dominated sectors, such as construction, energy and financial services. We interviewed Miss Waters, our head of science department and a physics teacher, to review this in more depth.
There is a difference between the number of boys and girls who choose physics for A-level and maths for A-level in this school, but that's also true nationally. Back in 2013, the government published data showing that 3% of girls who study A-level choose physics, where there's 10% of boys who study A-level choose physics. So there is a big difference there, and that is a difference that we need to close. I think one way of doing that is to get more STEM ambassadors come into school, and people who work in science, technology and engineering, and women who work in that field, to talk with our pupils about what they do in their job and why science is important for them. I think if they saw then the job opportunities that are out there, more people would be more likely to choose physics and maths for A-level.
How many boys take your catering course? Is the majority girls?
As it happens, because of doing food and technology in Key Stage 3, the catering numbers are always more or less equal. I've got 16 pupils and there's 8 boys and 8 girls. So I don't know why, it just happens. I think we don't approach the subject in this school as something that's girly. Everybody needs to do it in 7, 8 to 9. I think I tell them that there's nothing more attractive than a man that can cook. That might help them choose the subject. Because it's hospitality and catering and not home economics, they see a future because all the TV chefs are men and they're all successful and dynamic. So I think that encourages them as well. It's not anything to do with the home. It is purely to do with hospitality and catering. That's what the name says and that's what it is.
Boys, so to give the boys the opportunity of playing hockey in school and to develop hockey for boys and getting more boys to take part in what is traditionally known perhaps as a women's sport, we've started a hockey club for boys, and they've already competed in one competition and they're going to be competing next week, I think, in the Welsh competition in Swansea.
Do you consider yourselves feminists?
Definitely. I think really there was an interesting thing that Maisie Williams, the actress Maisie Williams, said that if you're not, surely it shouldn't be whether you're a feminist, it should be whether you're a sexist.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe there's a bit of misunderstanding about what the word feminist means. I think it tends to be portrayed as something that women feeling themselves in some way superior to men.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case at all. I think the definition is just for equal rights, and if you don't believe that, then you are a sexist, and I think that's the way we should be looking at it.
Yeah, I think Maya Angelou once said, like, if you're a woman but you're not a feminist, then there's definitely something wrong with you, because it is just about equal human rights. But I think that for me, feminism doesn't just mean, I think quite often people just stereotype it and they just go women, but women who can fight for their own rights, and I feel like transgender women and women of like different races need to be included in that as well, because they might not be able to have the same rights or not be able to fight for it in the same way that we might be able to. So I think that feminism should be more inclusive, and it should include more men as well, because I think that men kind of like isolate themselves off from it as well.
All in all, our school is in a pretty good place regarding working towards breaking gender stereotypes. But as we've seen, there is still more work to be done.
Of course, we only researched our school, whereas there are probably many other schools with both boys and girls afraid to try things because of old-fashioned stereotypes that don't fit into our modern society today.
But to encourage children to pursue whatever career they want, we need more funding to create more activities for both boys and girls to try.
We also think that employers should be responsible for creating more female role models for today's generation of children. For example, EasyJet, who reported a pay gap of 51.7% between its male and female employees, set a target that 20% of new entry pilots should be female by 2020. This would provide more role models in aviation careers, which is a step in the right direction.
It is completely reasonable to expect an education system that provides equal opportunities for all. Children should be encouraged to enter into whichever career they want, regardless of gender.